Hey, welcome to the show. Today, we're going to dive into the psychology of connection. We're going to unpack some really simple principles that can totally transform your day to day interactions. And look, this isn't about manipulation, it's about genuinely understanding people and building stronger, better bonds. Let's get right into it. Have you ever been in a room, maybe at a party or a meeting, and just wished you had some kind of secret key to instantly connect with someone? Well, it turns out psychology actually gives us a whole set of keys. So think of these techniques less as tricks and more like social superpowers for way better, more meaningful communication. Okay, first up, let's talk about that all-important first impression. You know, those first few moments of an interaction, they can totally set the tone for everything that comes after. So we're going to look at a couple of incredibly simple tools to build an immediate sense of trust and rapport right from the get-go. So, our first tool has this awesome name, the chameleon effect. And yeah, just like it sounds, it's all about adapting to your environment, or in this case, the person you're talking to create this really nice feeling of harmony. The psychology here is just, it's fascinating. When you subtly mirror someone's posture or maybe the words they use, their brain, on a subconscious level, kind of registers you as being like them. This taps into this really powerful idea that we're naturally drawn to people who we feel are similar to us. It just creates this amazing sense of comfort and familiarity, which is the foundation of trust. It's like a nonverbal way of saying, hey, we're on the same page. So how do you actually do this without looking like you're playing some weird game of Simon Says? Well, the key, the absolute key, is subtlety. If they lean back, you can lean back a moment later. Or if you notice they keep using a word like, say, brilliant, you can find a natural way to work that word into your conversation. It sends this quiet signal that you're in sync, and that builds connection almost instantly. All right, so building on that foundation of nonverbal cues, let's look at a verbal technique that is so simple but honestly so often overlooked. And it's one of the best ways to make someone feel truly valued. You know, psychologists often say that to any person, the sound of their own name is the sweetest sound in any language. And just think about it. When someone remembers and uses your name, you get this little jolt, right? You feel recognized, you feel important. Now, contrast that with that little sting you feel when someone forgets it. Using a person's name just shows you're paying attention and that you see them as an individual. And that makes them feel so much more comfortable and open with you. Okay, so we've built some rapport. Now let's level up. This next section is all about how you can gently and effectively guide conversations and decisions, all while making the other person feel empowered and totally in control. This is good stuff. This next technique is called the illusion of control, and I promise you, once you learn this, you are going to see it everywhere, from how a parent gets their kid to do homework to how a great waiter guides your order at a restaurant. This slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got a direct command. Go study now, which you know is probably going to be met with some resistance. But look at the right. By offering a choice, should we start with English or math? It changes the entire dynamic. Both options lead to the same result, studying. But because the person gets to make the choice, they feel like they're in control. It's a simple shift from a demand to a choice, and it dramatically increases cooperation. And now for a technique that's going to feel a little counterintuitive. In a world that's constantly telling us to have something to say to fill every gap, one of the most powerful tools for getting more information and keeping a conversation alive is to say nothing at all. See, most of us are pretty uncomfortable with silence in a conversation. It creates this natural pressure. So next time you ask a question and they give you an answer, just hold eye contact for a moment and wait. Just be quiet. More often than not, they will feel this compulsion to break that silence by adding more detail, elaborating, or even asking you a question. It's a totally effortless way to deepen the conversation. All right, let's talk about those really high-stakes moments. What do you do when a conversation gets tense, or you can just feel an argument brewing? These next techniques are all about gracefully de-escalating that tension and disarming a potential conflict before it even starts. So, picture this. You're in a discussion, voices are getting a little louder, the tension is rising, and you can just feel it's about to tip over into a full-blown argument. Is there some kind of psychological emergency brake you can pull? Well, the answer is yes, and it's surprisingly simple. That's right. You offer them something to eat. Now, I know it might sound kind of absurdly simple, but the psychological effect is just profound. A simple piece of chocolate, a cookie, any small snack can completely change the dynamic of a situation. So, why does this work? Well, eating is a fundamentally calming activity. The actual physiological act of chewing and swallowing can reduce the body's stress response. It is incredibly difficult to be aggressive while you are physically eating. The act itself lowers our defenses and promotes a feeling of comfort. Plus, offering someone food is just a universal gesture of goodwill that can instantly break a negative cycle and just bring the temperature down. Okay, our final disarming technique is one of my personal favorites because it's all about building connection by showing genuine, humble interest in the other person. Let's call it flatter by learning. This quote from the Dalai Lama just nails the whole idea. Instead of trying to prove how much you know, ask someone about a topic they're passionate about and just position yourself as a student. Let them teach you something. I mean, think about it. This makes them feel smart, confident, and really appreciated. And they'll start to associate you with all those positive feelings, which strengthens your connection like you wouldn't believe. So there you have it. We've just put together a pretty powerful toolkit of psychological principles you can use in your daily life to build better, stronger, and just more positive connections with all the people around you. Let's do a super quick recap, right? Use the chameleon effect to build that instant rapport. Use their name. Make them feel seen. Provide choices to give them a sense of control. Use the power of silence to get them to open up more. Offer food to disarm conflict in an instant, and flatter by learning to make them feel truly valued. Every single one is a simple, powerful tool for your kid. But, the real question now isn't just knowing these things, it's about putting them into practice. So in your next conversation, your next meeting, maybe even later today, which one of these tools will you try out first? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.